Good morning, TCS. Welcome to this week's TCS News broadcast. I'm Joshua.
And I'm Ronan.
Now let's get right into the news.
In the city of New Delhi, Indian farmers are in opposition to reforms that threaten their livelihoods that were introduced by Modi's government. The push against the changes resulted in protests on Monday, 1 year after the laws were introduced. Thousands of farmers camp out on major highways around the capital to oppose the laws, and for months they capture these major highways and cause traffic disturbances in order for their voices to be heard. The laws that these farmers are protesting against deregulates the agricultural sector that allows farmers to sell produce to buyers beyond government-regulated wholesale markets, which assures a minimum price of crops to growers. Small farmers say that this deregulation makes them vulnerable to competition from big factory farming practices and businesses, and that will eventually drop the price of staple foods such as wheat and rice. This is due to the simple concept of supply and demand. As supply of an item increases, the demand for it falls, making the prices go down. But if there is a limited supply, people will demand the product and prices will go up. Personally, I believe that the Indian government is doing this in the best interest of big corporations. The Indian government would rather hurt small farmers and help big business, even though the government says that the reforms mean new opportunities and better prices for farmers. But that is hardly the truth. The farming industry sustains half of India's more than 1 billion people, and it also accounts for 15% of their $2.7 trillion economy. And that drop in price and staple food prices will close small farms in India, and India will have to rely on factory farm foods to sustain that sector of the economy and feed a 500 million people. The policy looks to increase competition in the agricultural sector, but it actually decreases competition for big business.
I feel bad for the farmers. They already don't get paid much, so of course they want the prices of their product to go up. The government needs to work with the farmers instead of making their professions harder for them. Now, there aren't just protests going on in New Delhi, but there is also a massacre happening. Venomous snakes are preying on the people in India. Now, if we look at the US, about 7,000 to 8,000 people die from snake bites every year. That's a lot of people. But if we look at India, it gets crazier. Because in 2020, there was a study that was based on verbal autopsies. It showed that about 58,000 people die from snake bites every single year. There are 400 species of snakes in India, but only 4 are venomous. The Indian cobra, the Russell's viper, the common krait, and the saw-scaled cobra. Another thing that just blows my mind is that the Indian government is trying to downplay the snake massacre, saying that it's not a big deal and that the numbers are lower than actually reported. But y'all ain't slick. Clearly is many more deaths than that. You guys are probably wondering why so many people are being killed by snakes. One reason is the lack of first aid facilities, and because of this, a lot of Indian people rely on quacks and faith healers rather than the people in the medical field that can actually heal them. Another big reason is that a lot of people in India live in the areas where the snakes hunt down their prey. It's sad how people force themselves to choose religion over common sense. I'm religious myself, and I know if I get bitten by a snake, I'm rushing my way to the nearest hospital. Again, the crazy thing to me is that snakes are killing off the population, and the Indian government is saying that it isn't a big deal. Ronan, what do you think about this?
I think this is a heartbreaking tragedy that's going on in India. So I think that it's only appropriate that we have a moment of silence for all those who have died to snake bites.
Okay. Now that the snake story is over, let's get some positive energy from the TCS News.
On Friday, we had a wonderful conversation with Dr. Scott, who works at Johns Hopkins as the chief of the immunology department. He came to the school to answer the students' questions about COVID, the vaccine, and other topics like viral history, and explained why COVID is different from other coronaviruses out there. The students had a lot of questions about the vaccine and what it does to your immune system and possibly your body. I know that we have all heard the horror stories attached to the coronavirus vaccine, but there's nothing to worry about. While some of these stories are true, they usually happen because of underlying health conditions that people may or may not know they had before taking the vaccine. And these side effects are only observed in a few hundred people who take the vaccine. And as of right now, 2.5 billion people have been fully vaccinated, meaning that your chances of having severe side effects are actually very low. And if you're thinking about getting vaccinated, please check with your healthcare provider to make sure that you don't have any conditions you don't know about, and any conditions that you do know about won't be heightened by the COVID vaccine. Dr. Scott also talked about why the booster shot may be needed for those who are already vaccinated. Dr. Scott explained that over time we lose antibodies that the vaccine helped produce in our body, and that loss of antibodies will allow the virus to get into our bodies, invade our cells, and replicate, which makes us contract the virus with milder symptoms, and still be able to transmit it to those who are unvaccinated or with underlying health conditions. The booster shot actually increases the antibodies once more, and they actually stay around for much longer. Personally, I thought that once we got the second dose of vaccine, we were immune for life, but we might need a booster to combat both contagious mutations and to make sure that our antibody counts don't drop below the immunity threshold. This conversation really opened my eyes to the complexity of the time we are living in and allowed me to have a deeper understanding of COVID and the vaccine. Thank you, Dr. Scott, for this amazing experience.
I appreciate you, Dr. Scott, for telling us more information about the different viruses and why we should get the booster shot. Please, for people who haven't got the vaccine, just get the vaccine. It won't hurt you. It only stops you from getting one of the deadliest viruses on the planet. Before Dr. Scott's conversation on Friday, we had a conversation with Claude on Wednesday. If you don't know who Claude is an alumni from the community school, and he now goes to Loyola University. He came in and gave some good advice on how to do well in school and how important grades really are, literally. Mr. Tom always says grades equals money, and Claude is a good example of that. I say this because Claude has gotten about $200,000 in scholarship money. That's nearly a full ride. He didn't get that money without the hard work and dedication he put into the school. He talked about how he would be the first one to school every morning, he would study, and even try to get his homework done before class ended. You see, Claude is smart, but it isn't just his brains that got him this scholarship. It was really his habits. Him showing up every day on time, prepared to learn with a positive attitude in all of his work, is what got him a 4.0 GPA every single year he was in high school. And that led him to getting that scholarship. So thank you, Claude, for giving us the keys to success. We really appreciate you.
Also on Wednesday, we had our first gym class of the year. Mr. Eduardo, our gym teacher, is a great guy, and we love the work and dedication he puts into his job. He is a master of what he does, and it shows when he teaches. This week, he taught us about dribbling a soccer ball with our feet, and we played a game sort of like red light, green light, but with varying dribble speeds. We also played a game focused on teamwork and control of the ball. The game is called Mud Monsters. 2 people go around and try and steal a ball and kick it out of the playing area. The people with soccer balls have to save those who got out and try not to get out in the process. I had a great time playing the game, and it felt so good to be doing physical education again after taking a year-long break. I know I needed that during lockdown. It was a really fun class, and I know it was a really fun class where a lot of the newer students got to experience how gym is done here at TCS. Thank you, Mr. Eduardo, for the amazing class, and I can't wait for the next one.
I had so much fun in that class. We would now like to highlight Iliana, who is new this year. Iliana is the cousin of former student Selma. Iliana is now the second studio coordinator with Ronan and is doing a great job so far. And as many of you may know, this month is Hispanic Heritage Month, and Iliana also does Mexican traditional folk dance. Her group is called Danza Alegria, and they perform all over Baltimore City, specifically at Patterson Park, and with a group called Creative Alliance and at a church. Iliana has been doing this for 3 months now, and she loves it. She is super passionate about her Mexican heritage and loves to dance to show off how proud she is to be Hispanic. We're so proud of you, Iliana.
Yep. Now we want to thank all the amazing people who brought in lunch this week. Thank you, Mr. Ken and Miss Paulette, for the personalized Chipotle on Wednesday. You both radiate so much positivity, and every time you both come in, we love to listen to your positive messages.
Thank you, guys. And now we would like to thank Miss Heather for bringing the delicious chicken casserole with those amazing apple crisp. I've never had anything like that in my life, and you totally changed my perspective on food combinations. The ice cream apple dish was a class favorite, and I will be attempting to recreate it at home. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Miss Angie, Michelle's mom, for the empanadas on Friday and for the turkey and ham sandwiches with drinks, chips, and fruit on Monday. It is only the start of the year, and you have gone above and beyond for the students here at TCS, and we deeply appreciate your time and your wonderful cooking. Thank you so much.
I really appreciate you, Miss Angie, for stepping up. Now, thank you to the wonderful Miss Peg for her famous egg and sausage casserole on Tuesday. You are one of a kind, and you do so much for us here at TCS. Whether that is going to an organization to help sponsor the school, to the amazing ASO classes you teach, it is such an amazing experience to learn another language. And with you as our teacher, thank you for everything.
And that wraps up this week's broadcast. I hope you all have a wonderful weekend.
See y'all next week.